This episode of Antiques Roadshow is made possible by these sponsors. Now, the people who make Antiques Roadshow possible.
Hey, good morning, everyone. How are we all doing today, huh? We're getting back into Vampyr, because right now we're alternating between Vampyr and Look Outside. Good morning, most magnificent Lord of the Daybreak. That's fucking right. Caro knows how to say hello to me. Let's check who all is here. Caro, good job on being first. Wow, you've been a very good little creature today. Blood Orange, good to have you here. I was hoping to see you more often as the year went on. Seribot, I suppose you have to be here until I get the spoons to do something else. Aaron. Hi, Mir. Don't throw shit at me. All right, I'll hydrate in a second. Oh, Blood Orange, you're dropping Gaelic in my chat. All right, just for you, I'm gonna give it a shot. Let the American try. Is that Kaivra Lashiv? Let me know. Hey, chat, let me know in the comments. Let's see. Echo Gloam, welcome in, Gloam Boy. Hi, Eve. JC, hi. Scrolling on through. Very off. Okay. Can you phoneticize that for me? Can you get, yeah, Shiva was the one I was most confident in. Oh, might it have been Siva? Kimura Hashiv. Okay, so the TH is a ha. Fun. Hey, I'm actually really curious now, because, like, I think I find myself, for most languages, pretty good at figuring out how to at least phoneticize, how to at least pronounce words that are not, like, as long as they're written in those English letters, I know not to do, like, an I as an I when I'm not reading an English word, you know? But, like my brain has that wiring in, and I know that's a really low bar to meet, but I have met a lot of people in my real life who have not met that bar. I wonder now, like why is Gaelic so exceptional? Gaelic, because it's so crazy to me how, like, it uses English letters, or the Arabic alphabet, I should say, which is different than, like, Arabic. Gaelic, yeah, all licks are gay. Yeah, like the writing system is like, it's fascinating to me how, like, it's using letters that I'm so familiar with, and yet almost none of them operate in a way I'm familiar with. Like, Latin alphabet. Well, yes and no, right? Like, okay, so hold on. We use Arabic numerals. Okay, fine. But, like, isn't there... I could have sworn we got the fucking question mark from the Middle East, right? Like, the question mark wasn't ours. So no one asked a question until the Muslims came up with questions. They invented those. It's pretty ancient, as far as I'm aware. It was around during the Roman occupation. Okay. So we're probably talking then, like, this is basically, there was some very awkward transition phase. This is, like, fascinating history, but it's like, it's one of those facets of history that I have no fucking like, prior sort of dip into, right? The Romans just use suffixes for questions, nah, specifically. Yeah. I know about that funny post that goes around that's like how Destiny isn't it? Or, you know, and that's fun, but because it's like part of a viral post and I haven't looked into it, I'm not really like confident in it. Apparently Syriac uses a kind of question mark. Okay. But yeah, I'm just saying, like, this is a really interesting facet of world history, and I like to consider myself well-rounded. But this is information that, shall we say, has never crossed my desk. But who knows? Maybe one day we'll do a stream where I just fucking research random shit. That could be banger. That could fucking fry. That could fry big time. That could get the crowds fucking going. I assume that it was meant for the Latin alphabet was forced into it during the Jacobite rebellion or a similar sore spot. Yeah, this seems like honestly just a huge like delve into a rough moment where something had to really be susceptible to sledgehammer surgery. Ah, this is for helping me getting well-rounded. I hope coffee helps me get well-rounded. Blech. Skinny twink claims to be well-rounded. I am not a twink. I am a femboy Shota. Get it right. When you come to this channel, you are meant to sexualize me, and that makes you a pervert. Punctuation is incredible. It took us a millennia before anyone thought to mark that stuff. I fucking love it. They didn't even mark word borders. Yeah, like the period is really powerful. Just a little dot to be like, that's the end of this idea. Moving on. Great. Absolutely great. Gang, we're playing more Vampyr today. Let's get to the gaming screen. Set up my break area. Perfect. And then here. That's all good. That's all good. In the gaming scene, we're gonna choose Vampyr. You guys been hearing that fucking trap royalty song? Can't fucking stand it. 1738. Hey. Okay. You have to enter 3 times to get to the fucking actual menu, which is a little weird. Now I can peek through my window and be like, hey, yes, he sickos me. You can. All I got stuck in my ears is espresso macchiato. I don't know. I know what that is. Hi, Kobold. Have fun at D&D. Oh, let's get our... Just a second. Right, the sewer skulls territory. Let's zoom in. Let's zoom in. Little clippy on the Orbita class, but that's fine. This is a good position. Hi. Hello. Okay, so we had found this fucking underground nasty boy community and talked to this crazy lady. You can almost smell me. Almost. But I was like... I was like, surely the 4th community that we have yet to discover is the sewer skulls. But I suppose not. Did I progress time since this? Have sicknesses occurred? Well, okay. I still am dying to discover headache medication and migraine medication. Now, what am I... Where does it consider me to be right now? It considers me to be in Whitechapel still. Mason Swansborough. And Widow in Distress, Xiaoshun. 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 I fucking razz YouTubers and shit for not saying names right. So I can't hold myself to a lower standard. I can't be hypocritical like that. If I feel like I can say it right, I gotta try. Hello.
Have you found the answers you were looking for, young Ekon?
There is too much left unanswered. So many questions.
Get to know us. Spend time with us. And I may be willing to answer more questions.
Whitest man voice. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that. Me and my sister Michaelica, we speak normal people languages. Old Bridget. Oh my god, Biscuit Guilty Gear, but old. That's so cute. I love seeing a trans girly live to old age and still be a baddie nonetheless.
What manner of creature is Harriet? She is different from everyone else.
I really don't know. I'm not even certain she's a skull. I've no idea as to what blood made her.
What is a skull, in fact, in your honest opinion?
The progeny of a vampire, disavowed by her maker. Perhaps a fruitless branch of a noble tree. A word used to enslave us. I cannot say.
You mentioned that vampire blood has tremendous potency. You believe it to be stronger than your own?
The vampire's sweet blood. That rich, dark wine that we crave. For it made us, and it can sustain us.
I thank you for your time. I must go back to Hampton now.
Your kind.
I forgot that would have ended the dialogue tree.
To protect us, I'll close the access to our hideout, but you can use our shortcut to reach Mr. Hampton's shelter.
Oh, good.
Just follow the arrows.
We painted gamer arrows in yellow paint. Don't worry about it. Bridget has hella pearls. Yeah, she's got a fucking dowager pearls going on, right? Bridget's rocked up like, I used to be in Broadway. It was big. It was loud. It was grand. I was the starlet of the stage. And now I live in the sewers and lick old tuna out of cans. And it's cunty. Hey, why do you live here?
Why do you live here, amongst the filth and vermin?
Live. Here we hide.
From... ...
What are you hiding from?
From the guilt, the shame, from the hunters and the light. And of course, our past.
Girlie, you can't drop that and not elaborate, babe.
Why don't you leave the city? Hide somewhere far from the Guard of Priwen, the Ascalon Club.
We are the sewer skulls. This is our domain.
Hell yeah.
We have run as far as we can, and now we hide.
Hell yeah. She's like, we hid here so long, we put down roots. This is it. Our final fucking stand. And that rules. That's good writing.
Your diction, your words. You do not carry yourself like most skulls I've encountered.
True. I'm not like most skulls.
What happened?
You were once someone else. What happened to you?
It is as sad as it is long, young Ekon, but it will remain mine.
Just a second. I'm going to increase the game volume for you guys, just so you can hear more of this dialogue.
Can I be of service to you?
We ask but one thing. Reveal to no one our secrets. Do not betray us.
It does not benefit me to do so.
For how long have you been in hiding here?
Skulls have been hiding under London since vampires first entered the city.
Where did you hide before the sewers?
We claimed ancient tunnels, and caverns, catacombs. We are skulls.
They're French.
Traveling beneath the feet of our makers.
They're French. They're from the catacombs of Paris. If you ever saw As Above, So Below, a movie that gets better every time I watch it. It went from kind of meh to pretty fucking good. They're in there. The skulls are in there.
Thank you, old Bridget. I hope we'll meet again.
Okay, so I do want to comment on how, like, they might be trying to set up a racial oppression metaphor for the skulls, but there is always, as always, when it comes to supernatural fiction trying to do a racism theme, a big fucking problem, right? Because what they're doing is they're paralleling the skulls to the Romanians, who are here, like the Romanians are all throughout the game and being oppressed and being left to the wayside, or being downright attacked by the ruling class at times. And that is real. That is historical, and it's being represented. I can't say accurately. I wasn't around for that. I was somewhere else. But it seems compelling, and it seems even-handed, and it seems considerate. That's good. Then they bring in the Scowls to be like, this is our supernatural parallel beat, right? This is the same theme. Where were you? Where were you, Dove? I was completely taking advantage of my privilege and not speaking up for the downtrodden. That's where I was. This game takes place, what, in like 19... When was this? When was this? Hold on. Lying Ashwell's laugh? Probably. Let's find out if any of these things are dated. Weaknesses? Prevent shit. Huh? Weaknesses of vampires? No. Origin? Someone just look up when this game takes place, like the exact year. For me. Let's see if I can't find it first. Because I've got month and day dates, but no year dates. (1918). Yeah, so I would have been an Astaroth Slap by then. I wasn't around for this. Besides, I wouldn't be hanging out with shitty, scared of daylight vampires in London. Lame. Lame. But I'm saying there's this issue with fantasy racism themes that, listen, if you've played any fucking David Cage game, first of all, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if at some point you felt compelled to play Heavy Rain or Detroit Become Human or LA Noire. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you felt the need to play those, and I'm sorry for the time that they stole from you. Don't see, this fucker's mad about it too. But if you played any David Cage game, this is extremely it's extremely David Cage-esque writing. I'm thinking specifically about Detroit Become Human, where your allegorical racism underclass in your story they should not be truly physically or psychologically different from human, because a key point of racism is dehumanization, right? The key difference between real racism and fantasy racism is that the fantasy racism oftentimes comes with a semi-logical premise, something that you could logic yourself into. Racism is not something you logic yourself into. It's something you emotionally argue yourself into, and that's why you can only emotionally argue yourself out. You can't logic yourself out of that. It's like the Scowls here, I am led to believe in Vampyr, they have this bloodline of the supernatural vampire-like species that makes them more prone to extreme, sudden, violent, murderous outbursts, which can only be ended when they are put down. I don't know how to tell you this, but Romanian people don't have that. The difference between a Scowl and a Romanian person is that a Romanian person can just smoke a cigarette and be fine, like the rest of us. The robots that ride the back of the bus because reasons. Yeah, they do. Because reasons, that's all. This is our racism allegory. They're oppressed, they can explode at any moment and are oppressed for that. Like that's like racism, right? Exactly. Like, there are ways where it can be done right, I do think. It's not technically, like, I don't want to call it directly racism, because anyone who's watched Promare can talk about how it kind of seemed more like LGBT oppression, right? Especially because Galileo they're having gay sex on screen for half of the fucking movie. But Promare, it was there was this threat of this underclass going haywire and erupting into flame, right? But a lot of that was in direct response to being oppressed by the fascist state. And not only that, but those flames could be controlled if nurtured. And it was more about like how if you try to block out any part of your society for ways that they are divergent from you ideologically or spiritually, you run the risk of shooting yourself in the foot and making your society more dangerous for everyone in it. Right? And of course, like the exceptional ideology that you should always stamp out is the counter argument ideology. You always got to stamp out the Nazis. You always got to stamp out the bigots and the fascists, because their whole ideology is you shouldn't respect people. Like I'm not even speaking from a matter of ethics. I'm speaking from a matter of systems. If you are trying to run a society that will be profitable and robust in the long term, you need to actually be good, which is crazy. Need Leophosha in my bed. Ha. Leophosha is like if I wasn't a vampire and also had more fruity colored fire. Can I talk to any of these losers? I've just been kind of wandering around.
Will never find us here.
That was a great delivery. The vampire hunters will never find us here. Now, I would like at least one more character. Like, okay, honestly, I think two more. I would like two more characters down here to talk to who are Scowls. I would love to, like, round out this whole...
Eternal gratitude for your protection, Master.
I would love, like, named characters with dialogue trees down here, just to show that...
Your spare legendary
Devil, we roasted Fruity Pebbles on him. Yeah, that's how you turn me into Leophosha. Dove being called master to even the game. I am the master of all things, equally. The only thing I am not master of is Astaroth, because we are equals. I'm just so curious. Is this from whence I camest? Is there...
It's locked.
It's locked. Yeah, this is from whence I camest. Ooh. What's that do? John! John! You flooded the whole Skull sewers! We're all dead now! What the fuck, man? Equals, huh? Astaroth and I have extreme gay sex with massive size difference, and he is like Fart Dragon. Like, it gets nasty. We are equals. Okay. Well, no. What? Well, where did that other tunnel go? Where did the other tunnel go? Where did it go? Where did it go? Where'd the other tunnel? Okay, we turned that crank. Oh, she did the big fucking arrows and everything. Just did some karaoke earlier? Oh, cool. Fun. Was it 99 Luftballons? Get it? Because you're German. I hate that song. I'm gonna be so real. I hate that song so much.
Are you all right, sir? What are you doing here?
I could ask you the same question. Don't you know this is a quarantine zone?
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm investigating the epidemic. You had better get to a safe place while you still can.
Oh, really? Well, go investigate somewhere else and leave me be.
I beg your pardon?
I said go. Leave me alone, sir.
Find out the reason the terrified young man is hiding in the sewers. I think it's because he's tweaking out. Where are you going, dude? My Life Blues is a song that's like, if the melody wasn't so good, it'd be a total flop because the lyrics are absolute garbage. I don't care about the lyrics. I may have mentioned this before. I'm really bad at audio processing. Even songs that I love, I need to look up the lyrics to find out what the lyrics are. I find the vocals to be shrill and irritating, and the melody to be simple and grating.
I cannot enter.
I cannot enter.
99.
Like, it's... I like it in German, I hate it in English. Okay. That's promising. An anti-vaxxer? Really?
My duty to insist. Death lurks everywhere. I must ask you to go back home.
I'm safe here, don't you get it?
Oh?
I'm better off risking the flu than catching a bullet. Am I clear enough?
I see. Well, since you are obviously hiding from a threat, don't you have a safer place to go?
Do you think I'm stupid? The Night Asylum, the Turquoise Turtle, even Miss Gillingham's attic. I tried them all. No, this is my only chance.
I can't give him a checkup. Rodney Grader. Lost. Is he just straight up lost? Are they telling me he just doesn't know where he is?
Sir, you have no idea what could happen to you if you stay here. Why don't you go home?
For fuck's sake, do I have to punch you in the face to make you disappear? Leave me be.
It's my duty to... I see.
Okay, we already had that. All right, cool. Well, we got to find out, but he's actually just told me some interesting shit where he says he's been. So if I go talk to Gillingham and others, I may actually discover what the fuck's afoot.
99, oh 99. 99 plus 1 is 100.
No more questions, Dr. Reed.
All right, can I talk to our aging starlet, please? Heavily thinking of going out tomorrow to a small fair looking for some Black Butler merch. It's going to be cold and possibly rain. Speaking of Black Butler, are any of you guys catching up on the anime release of Emerald Witch Arc? They're fucking popping off, gang. I'm so happy that, like, this studio is leaning hard into the yaoi. That shit is so peak, it's crazy. I love Sieglin so much. You know, like, honestly, here's what's I'm gonna say something really bold and controversial. I usually don't like a lot of female characters in a lot of, especially anime, which is not so hot of a take, I think, because my audience understands that a lot, like the grand majority of anime makes female characters for the purpose of being desired, right? And what I love is you can always trust a fujoshi, a fudanshi. You can always trust someone who objectifies men to write women that are good characters. And I'm going to leave you on that note while we go on an ad break. Hey, welcome back. Yeah, fucking. I hope you're liking Antiques Roadshow. It's an old classic. It's a favorite of mine. I love Antiques Roadshow. I love learning about all that shit. That particular comp is from the official channel. It's about all the stuff they haven't like just it's a compilation of a bunch of stuff that was brought in that the appraisers are like, whoa, I haven't seen one of these. So that's fun. That's cool. Antiques Roadshow is fucking banger. They've got such cool shit there. And I'm hoping that the VOD will allow it to stay on because it's PBS, public broadcasting. I don't think it's copyright. It might be. It might be. Who knows? Yes. Yana Toboso's ladies are always awesome. Yeah, so like here's the thing. When it comes to specifically hard fucking yaoi, like Black Butler, and when I say hard, I don't mean like hardcore, because like obviously it's the slowest of all slow burn. But I mean hard fucking yaois in like it is clearly the focus of the text. There comes this issue where it's this implicit understanding that the plot and all characters aside from the boys we're meant to be ogling the most are supplementary. We understand them to functionally be props to illustrate how these two main boys who we're supposed to be licking and biting on interact with each other and the world. When CL straight up murders someone, we're not meant to care about that person that much. We're supposed to care about how it affects CL. And so like characters that are not the main breeding couple in texts like this necessarily have a quality ceiling, right? Because it is this implicit promise of the text that they're not the focus, they're not the point. However, they also have a raised quality floor sometimes, where it's like, because they are not meant to be the focus of the text, they are not going to be prone to a lot of issues that make a character insufferable, which are things that are built in to make you like them no matter what, shit that feels market tested. And instead are more prone to, if they get enough screen time, only be things that the author themselves likes and wants to see. That's where Sieglinde and Black Butler comes in. All right, that's an appeal to the lolicons, but Yana Toboso is a prime example of the lesbian urge to be a Shotokan, right? So I'm certain Sieglinde appeals to her too. But what's great is that Sieglinde is not meant to be the focus of this text at all. She is meant to be a foil. Her and her stupid sideburns Butler are meant to be foils for CL and Sebastian, and they are really developed side characters comparative to other ones because they're meant to be like these mirrors and compare and contrast moments, and they are part of a plot that is more than shoestring. But because they are not the focus of the text, because they are not the point, Yana doesn't feel the need to overload them with traits to make them interesting, and instead just comes at them from an angle that is actually genuinely good and thorough. This is my take. Yana Toboso is a great writer insofar as Yana Toboso understands what Black Butler is about and sticks to that. Sticks to that like a promise, like an oath. Those of you who are not catching up on the manga, we've been in a long dry period of not seeing the boys for a long time. Instead, we're in like a series of backstories about the servants, like the maid and the chef and the gardener boy. Oh, Sean.
Welcome back, Dr. Reed. Would you like to take communion with me now?
Sean, are you eating raw flesh?
It is the sacred flesh of the mortal lamb. Our Lord's bountiful transmutation for the sustenance of his believers.
Is that what those dead bodies were downstairs?
I am your most humble servant.
So, true to your word, you waited for my return.
I told you, Dr. Reed, I was a man to be trusted. Did you have words with the poor Harriet?
I love these fucking like early fucking, well actually I honestly late 2010s as dialogue systems, mid to late 2010s as dialogue systems. Have the person stand there and just kind of like, you know what I mean? It's dope. I'm waiting for your fucking dialogue option. I have a tree right here. Yeah, look, he's wigging the hell out, man. Can I? I can't adjust the angle of this one. Ah! All right, fine. Coffee. My. Wow.
You make no distinction between the living and the skulls, do you?
We are God's children, Dr. Reed. One and all.
Ah!
And he's determined
Robin!
to save us.
Hi, hello. We're playing more of this vampire game. Look at this dude fucking zone out. Pretty wild. I feel like we like again. There's this piece of asymmetrical information in this game right now that is still kind of making me squint, and it's this. When I choose those split dialogue trees, I don't know if I'm able to be lying, right? I don't know if I'm choosing what John believes or just what he's saying. I'm acting like I'm choosing just what he's saying, because to be a vampire seems to be manipulative. So I'm leaning into that manipulation. But if this ends up determining John's ideology, then he's gonna have one weak ass spine, a real go with whoever's in the room kind of belief system.
What will be the result if you continue to assist both skulls and the living?
For the last decade, that's what's been happening. And they found a better life. What's to change?
You're forgetting the epidemic. Things can go south very quickly. I've seen it.
Giving him the Joe Rogan belief system.
Those pure of heart.
Gloam good, very good. Gloam, you're the king of chat. Buy whoever you want in there. Yeah, the fucking Joe Rogan. I don't believe in science until I have Neil deGrasse Tyson on for an interview for the 40th time. Legal disclaimer, chat. I don't watch the Joe Rogan show, but sometimes he slips across my YouTube shorts and I don't even realize it's his show until the camera cuts away from Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about black holes and shit. And I'm like, why are you there, Neil? Neil, why are you there talking to Joe Rogan? Neil, I get it. Your whole brand is to be an astrophysicist who has an effusive and charismatic demeanor to deliver interesting sci-fi ochre information to the public. You don't gotta go to everyone who fucking asks, Neil.
You've turned Skal now. Don't you see the danger to anyone giving you their trust?
We are all sinners, awaiting salvation. This is a simple truth, ordained by the Lord Almighty. I am a seeker of his glorious light.
I find Neil deGrasse Tyson funny and tedious. Also, we need to start the anti-wholesome action, making a statement of avoiding soulless wholesome fodder. Yeah, listen, I did briefly consider, I own, it was a gift from a friend, I own a game on Steam called Calico. It is overly saccharine, no conflict. It is, listen, I appreciate the trans girl run a cat bakery cafe fantasy on an island full of cat girls. Like, I appreciate that this is what someone made to be a comfort game. It is so tooth-rottingly conflict-free that it felt like it was giving me nerve damage to play. I needed something. And what's interesting is you don't have to put dark and gritty and nasty into your game to fix that issue. It's basically this. You need to create a sense of tension, and if you're not willing to create a sense of tension that is dark and frightening, then you can create a sense of tension that is humorous, right? Like, if that game was a lot more satirical, if that game was pumped with more comedy, I feel like it would have thrived. Hi, Mochi. Hello, hello. Biting you, biting you, biting you, biting you, biting you, biting you.
Does this place belong to you? How can you be so certain you can keep it open?
This warehouse was once property of the Dawson family, but has been bequeathed me through donation.
Oh, you like being bitten? You like being bitten, huh? 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 You like it? Huh? My teeth are for the biting. Oh, okay. No, closer, closer. Yeah, right. Here's good. Here's good. Yes, we love religious vampires. I love them played straight. I love them played for comedy. I love it.
The Dawsons? The wealthiest family in London? Have they a clue as to what goes on here?
Not at all. The donation was made before the war. The building was run down. I never met Aloysius Dawson myself.
Aloysius. Now that's a if you're in a vampire game ass name.
So you have the run of the place and no one's taken notice?
As long as we keep to ourselves, we interest no one. This is a haven, and I pray it remains so for eons to come.
Sean, you have a pretty solid ideology. Here's the thing that I'm really liking about Sean. They're setting him up to have Catholic madness, which is the best kind of madness for a vampire to have. What's cool is he has this organivore trait. Sorry to be speaking VTM, but he needs to eat the flesh and not drink the blood. And this means that he has this rough situation where he cannot sate his thirst non-lethally, right? I mean, he could, but he would need, it's so much more damaging, and it rarely is, it's a lot harder for him to secure consent if he's looking for it, right? And so the fact is that if I were in his situation, if I was trying to use everything in my power to, as my faith demands, make a safe space for a community, and suddenly I was afflicted with this need to feed myself the flesh of people, I would be in such deep cognitive dissonance that I would have to interpret this as a test from God, or perhaps a blessing.
Harriet, Miss Jones has been behaving in a most violent manner. She's going to need special attention.
That's precisely the reason I brought her here. To meet old Bridget. She's the guide Harriet requires.
Mm-hmm.
Who is this old Bridget?
I don't know, Doctor. She rarely speaks of her past, but I know she has a long one. She's likely the oldest soul in the city.
Harriet is possessed by her hatred. You cannot let her roam free. She's dangerous.
She has joined her own kind, Doctor. Old Bridget is a saint to the younger Skulls, guiding them to salvation and peaceful existence.
I believe I've learned all I need to know. I'm certain you've killed no one, but one day I believe you'll cross the line.
Logic is a false prophet. Faith is the only path to salvation.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm certain he thinks that.
We have been blessed with God's eternity.
Ah! All right, I'll hydrate.
Instruments
More
of
coffee.
God and will. We shall feed the hungry forever and ever. Amen.
I like this dude. I like this dude. He again, they're doing really strong character writing. Drink water, you fool. My chat has learned by now that if they can get me to finish the coffee, I replace it with water. I'd like to trust you, dude.
I will strive to emulate your merciful nature, Sean, but it's a difficult pledge to make.
Give yourself over to God, Doctor. Expel your urges and kneel before the Lord in praise.
These urges. You know the hunger will never be satisfied.
I've come to embrace the everlasting craving. I have sworn to feed only upon the flesh of the dead. It is now my sacrament.
Nice.
Take, eat. This is my body. So saith the Lord.
They really want him to be a villain. Ooh, this is tough. This is tough. This is tough. Ooh. Ooh, this is a tough one. This is strong. Let me move my funny head. Okay, so my choices are, as you can see, if I spend 500 XP, I can override his bloodline with mine and get rid of his flesh craving. The south option is I straight up kill him, or I spare him. And I'm gonna be real. I want to see how this plays out, right? They've done this choreography and this music. They've said, Dove, this character's got a lot going on. He's gonna make some moves as the game continues. And I'm thinking to myself now, I want to see if he can actually resist the urge for at least the duration of the game to kill a person and only eat the flesh of the dead. I kind of want to spare him. Besides, I need someone to keep this district buttoned down while I get the Mesmer level to eat all of his constituents, and maybe that'll end up with us having some combat yaoi later. So, I think I'm going to spare this loser.
I believe you, Sean. In fact, I envy the peace you found and will remember it.
There is love and compassion in your heart. You only need to give it wings.
Thank you for your kind words, Sean. Continue your noble efforts. You are a good man in bad times.
Keep to the light, my friend. Like all my flock, you have a home here. Anytime you're in the neighborhood.
Oh, new mesmerize level? Mesmer level 3? The district will soon suffer the consequences of my action. I think the consequences of my action are fine. Oh, a scream. Is someone in trouble? Is someone in trouble?
Another corpse thrown in the streets. Someone's playing a very sick game.
Who the hell is this? What's in his hands?
I know this brooch. This is my mother's. A birthday gift from father.
Whoa. This almost is starting to feel like Sherlock Holmes fiction.
29 Pretty Orchard Street. That's near Poplar's district.
Where does it say that?
Why would this man carry off my mother's brooch? I must go there.
Where does it... Where... Oh, it's his wallet. It's his wallet. She left the wallet found in a corpse left in front of Sean Hampton's night shelter. The wallet contains official paper of repatriation and demobilization with the address of the victim, 29 Pretty Orchard Street.
You again? What do you want?
Do you see what just happened, babe?
Did you see what just happened?
No, I didn't. And I don't care.
Really? Why is that?
Because this sexist pig is one of the 4 men who blacklisted me.
Nice.
Good riddance.
Good riddance.
Me.
Screw this dude.
Giselle, I know you sleep at Sean Hampton's shelter. What can you tell me about him?
He provided a roof for me and my sister. I am grateful, of course. But he gives me the creeps.
Why
Yeah.
is that?
Yeah.
He's always sad. Like he's about to cry. He's always asking us to get closer to God. To give ourselves to the Lord. Creepy.
Giselle fucking gets it. She's so real. I love her so much. I've said I love this character about so many characters in this game. I'm almost starting to like get to the point where I'm willing to call the writing of the game itself, in broad strokes, strong.
Giselle, tell me about the death of your mother.
After our father died, Mother worked so hard she made herself sick. We spent all the money we had on useless drugs and doctors. It was hell.
Hell? What do you mean?
The 3 of us were exhausted and desperate. And when I'm desperate, I tend to get angry.
Oh, you lashed out.
Hard to live with. Lottie said I killed Mother.
You should talk to your sister.
You should talk to your sister. Whatever happened when your mother died, the truth lies somewhere between your two versions.
Well, that's not what I fucking said.
It was years ago. We Paxton sisters are tough. We don't apologize.
Do you need medical help, Miss Paxton?
No, thank you.
Okay, we are 2 hints short of her being ripe for the killing.
Well,
And when that day comes, I'm gonna be so upset.
Glad to see you again, Mr. Reed.
You're really chipper after seeing this dead body.
did you see what happened?
No. I was coming back to the shelter from work when I heard an awful scream, and there was this man, dead, just in front of the building.
You saw nothing at all?
No, I told you, just that awful woman's scream.
A woman scream? Are you sure?
Of course. It was terrifying.
Did they scream their pronouns?
So I ran. But it was a man I've never seen round here before.
Goodbye, Miss.
My pronouns are she, her. Now I know it's a woman's scream.
Good evening, Mr. Throgmorton.
Dr. Reed.
This asshole.
Be of any assistance? Have you noticed anything suspicious lately?
Yeah, did you see what happened, dude?
What happened to him?
Actually, yes. He was thrown from the roof like a vulgar log.
Like a vulgar log.
Why is it that you sound so afraid?
You didn't see it. He was dead before he hit the ground.
Oh.
The strength required to do such a thing, well, it beggars belief.
Now, why was bro with John's mom's brooch on top of the roof?
Who could have done that?
Who? Well, a vampire, of course. Look, bite marks on the neck and lacerations here.
Lacerations.
Definitely a vampire close by.
He's so dramatic. Your cousin Throgmorton. Okay, we're 1 hint short of a breadbasket here.
Have you heard of the...
Of course.
Nope, nothing.
Goodbye.
The vampires might even be Amogus. They might. Isn't that wild? We gotta investigate the roof. Can we get to the roof? Lacerations. Ree! Any blinking or flits I can do to get up further? No? Oh. Let me ask Sean directly. Hey, why was there someone on your roof? Oh, you're not available for talking right now? I guess you're in the middle of prayer, it's fine. Pinchy vampire. Okay, okay. We have people to interact with. I love the dude so much. I love how he easily gets scared. That heroic attitude of him just vanishes. Like I said, he should be crying and bleeding in a puddle. Is he wumptious? Is that the take? He's wumptious? Danger is closer than you think. They are already here. Do not let them take the kingdom. See a vampire? Seek for help. Ichabod Throckmorton, expert vampire hunter. He has nice posters. Hey, did you make these?
Good evening, Mr.
Dr.
Goodbye.
Hello, gamer. If that is your real name. Vampire time. Since we're in the region, we should find out why Brosif is so afraid, and I think let me just find out, like, what all is around here. Ooh, that dude's a little. I've turned around. I'm not playing games. What's that? Join the ranks. Okay, yeah. War poster. Some shillings, baby! Are we out of the zone? We are slightly out of zone. Don't let me into my zone. I'm in my zone. I'm out of the zone. Curfew in effect makes sense. That looks like it's traversable terrain, and yet... Oh, you're an enemy. Hi, cat boy. Hello, hello. Hugs for Dove. You can hug me if you get on your knees and hug my knees. You need to be that level of below and submissive. What's all this then? What's in here? This looks so investigatable. What is this? Gonna kiss your feet? You may. You can kiss my boots while I wear them. Have you guys seen my boots? Some of you might not have seen my boots. Let me show you my boots. It's important. Sliding, 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 sliding. My boots. Haha. Look at him. Hehehe. Can I shine your boots? Yes, Caro. I will allow that. Cool boots. They're very cool. Dove favorite animal. Whenever I see a kakapo, I'm thrilled. I am thrilled to see a kakapo. At all times. It doesn't matter what context. If I see a kakapo having a good time, I'm like, hell fucking yeah. A what? It's spelled like this. It's a precious moss potato of a bird. It's a citizen. Have we been here before? What the hell is this joint? Enid. That looks like collapsible flooring to me, baby. Yeah, I can't even walk on it. No. Yes?
They must be busy at the moment.
Okay. Ad break time. See you in a bit.
Imagine those were.
Hi, welcome back in. Why is this a couch shop? It's Antiques Roadshow. It's a publicly funded program where the set moves with a lot of appraisers and antique specialists, and they set up shop in some location, some city, and people bring in all their stuff, and then if anything interesting is found, they bring them onto camera, and we, the audience, get to learn about a cool object and the history of it. I go to bed. Good night, Gloam. Okay, this gave me a notice that I couldn't enter this fucking building. What did it say?
I will return at a more...
Can't enter house, has too many citizens inside. Okay, so this is a later kind of beat. He's observing good social distancing practices. Okay, so this seems like the big shot area for... Hello! Can I talk to you? Hello?
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Do you need any help?
Rest assured, I will help you, sir.
Oh?
Martin Nightingale, at your service. Please, take a look at my wares.
Your merchandise. I don't really see anything worth having. No offense.
None taken, sir. But please, I need to eat. Perhaps if you keep looking, you'd see something that takes your fancy.
Let's have a look at what you actually have. Ooh. Stamina sample? I'm sitting on a lot of juice. Fuck it. Give me that. Give me that. Give me that. Hell yeah.
Good evening, young man.
There's no need to call me that, Dr. Reed.
He's like, hold on.
Young man, do you require medical attention?
John!
Perfectly fine, thank you.
John! He just said don't call him that.
Why not try seeking help instead of peddling your wares? I'm sure there are people around here that would gladly help.
There's always the night asylum. Heard it's run by a very nice man, but I'm no beggar. Not yet, at least.
There is no shame in asking for help, my boy. Sometimes it can even be the best course of action.
I don't feel okay with that. I'm gonna make a name for myself, and I'll do it by myself.
Honestly, honorable motive. Try to keep your independence and keep your self-reliance. Did he just adopt this man? Real. Yep. He's like, little boy, you are not selling anything interesting. Buys 3 things, calls you little boy 6 more times.
What can you tell me about the neighborhood? Have you got any friends around these parts?
Not really. Miss Gillingham smiles and says kind words, but I know she's lost her marbles, especially since her son died.
Woof. What happened to her son?
How interesting. I don't suppose you know what happened to her son.
Jack. Rumor has it he tried to tackle some gang lads.
Ooh.
I didn't know him well, but I heard he was a nice enough chap. His old ma still thinks he's around.
Well, the twist is going to be he is still around as a vampire.
Tell me about this crazy woman. Madness is often mistaken for other conditions.
The poor woman's mad, all right. Kind and all, but she has so much trouble remembering things. She's taken me for a son more than once.
Ooh, all right, Enid, we can get your ass.
Let me be frank. You're as much of a businessman as I am a werewolf.
Robin, stop thirsting after the MC. We know he's hot.
Me. It's hard enough to stay clean when you don't have a place to sleep. I'm doing my best here.
I meant no offense, Mr. Nightingale. I was merely pointing out the fact that you're unlikely to survive long if you continue wandering this path.
And what should I do then, sir? Should I join the Wet Boot Boys like so many others? No thanks. I'd rather be a bad seller than a dead gang member.
Lay it out, dude. Already got... Okay, we're 2 hints short. I'm not thirsty, I just want to move out. Nah. Sure. Yeah, so I'm 2 hints short on you.
Goodbye.
But now that there's one citizen less in the building, can I... one less citizen in the building, can I go in?
Good evening, miss.
Yes!
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. May I come in?
I already took my medication, Doctor. But thank you.
I'm sorry. Your medication? Have we met before?
Don't tease me like that, Jack. Sorry, what?
Oh, she's losing it. Hey, let me in.
I think I should come in, miss. I'd like to check if everything is okay, what with the epidemic spreading across London.
An epidemic, you say? How terrible. I had no idea. But where are my manners? Please do come in, Doctor. You are a doctor, yes?
So I'm wondering, let me just check my notes. Rodney. Rodney's who we're not sure on. Ooh. I don't know about these posters.
So, Dr. Tippets, what brings you
Dr.
back here?
Tippets!
I heard whispers you had a job at that fancy hospital.
I told you my name is Jonathan Reed. Don't you remember?
Of course I do. I remember my name too. Gillingham. But you may call me Enid, Doctor. I'm very happy to see you again.
Alright, this is gonna be rough.
Do you require medical attention, miss?
I'm glad you asked, Dr. Tippets. I must confess I haven't felt that well of late.
Headache again?
I'll see you later.
I don't have the recipe for headache medicine.
Enid, have you really no idea what happened to your son?
No idea?
No idea at all?
Not at all?
I've not seen Jack for so long. I lose track of time. Has something bad happened to him?
See, if I say dead, she's gonna forget it, so that only serves to stress her out.
Don't worry. Jack will come back.
Yes, he will. It won't be long before he's back. He must be out there somewhere making money. Yes, that's what he's doing.
Or gal.
Who are the more influential figures on the docks?
Well, I heard about some terrible illness going around.
Yeah.
I would say in that case that it's you, Dr. Tippets.
That's true. I am Dr. Tippets right now.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
Oh no, I don't gossip. That would be most unbecoming of a lady such as myself.
Girly Pop, tell me.
Is anyone taking care of you, Miss Gillingham?
My son is always here to take care of me.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good boy like that, but I do worry that he needs to start living his own life. Why, I would never say that to him, of course.
Damn.
Goodbye, Miss Gillingham.
Not a lot to get out of her, but let's look around her space. Maybe there's more to learn. Aha! The Rodney investigation continues. Rodney, I just heard what happened tonight. I ran to your house, but you were already gone, so now I'm writing this note. Is it true you killed him? I can't believe it. Why? What happened? I really need to talk to you now. Please, find a way to contact me when you receive this message. Since I know you can be very cautious, and to prove to you this is not a trap, let's use a code when we meet. I'll whistle my name, Jack, in Morse code, and you'll whistle yours, okay? This way, you'll know it's really me. For now, it's a good thing that you were hiding. The Wet Boot Boys are all over the neighborhood claiming they will punish the man who murdered one of them. I'm sure we can make an arrangement to settle things once the heat dies down. Ooh. Interesting. I'm looting Grandma's house. I'm taking her shillings.
It's locked.
It's locked. Well, now we can get Rodney. We can get him.
Good evening.
There's no...
Anything we got from you for that? No, okay.
Goodbye.
We gotta handle this Rodney sitch. Oh, and also I guess we got posters to put up. Or burn them. Burning them seems easier, frankly. I don't know why I came up here. Ah! Hi, Maury. Doggy, doggy, doggy. Hello, hello.
Best run along home, sir.
Alright. I ain't gonna tangle with those losers. One thing I like is that combat gives you XP, but it's not really that much. Like you aren't really... Avoiding combat seems pretty fucking valid as a strategy. And that's good, because, the combat's not the most fun.
Best stay back, sir.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to the zone. Don't let me into my zone. Don't get me a new calzone. I'm in my zone. Oh, here we go. You're all still just sort of standing around this body?
Good evening.
Doctor...
Goodbye.
Let's figure out the Yeah, so first let's talk to Rodney and see if we can't peel his brain open on stream. Rat.
Wah, 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 wah.
So far, Vampyr, pretty good game. Pretty good game. Do I recommend it? Yeah. Stream's been going all right. I've been playing Antiques Roadshow on breaks, and people are seeming to like that, which is good. We should cultivate an admiration for history. Oh, come on, where's Rodney? I just started tracking a different unrelated quest, and I don't want to open the menu to... putain. He's down there, isn't he? It's a show about antiques.
Rodney, you're the man who killed that gang member, are you not? Is that why you are hiding in this godforsaken place?
Yes, I did. I did not even know his name.
Then why did you kill him?
That arsehole always mocked me for the color of my skin. Usually I let it go. But not that night. We fought. He died.
Unfortunately, I have met several murderers during my lifetime.
You have to go? Thanks for stopping in, Maury. Keep being a good puppy.
You're no cold-blooded killer.
You're right, sir. At first it was just a simple argument between us. But the man had a bad fall.
Believe me, Rodney, you won't survive here long. No matter what you did, you must go back to where you used to live.
I'll go back to the docks then. But if I die, remember that the blood of Rodney Grader will be on your hands.
We got 2 more hints on him, though. I want the maximum juice I can wring from his stupid little body. Red stars, you feel it. That's Dove Staroth music. Red Stars by the Birthday Massacre. If you want to hear my ship playlist. Birthday Massacre is a band I like. I'm not going to say they're like revolutionary. Except Blue. That song and that music video, fucking incredible. That subtle sample of Caribbean Blue from Enya is so cool. I think I have a soft spot for songs that sample Enya. or Clannad in general.
It's locked, all right.
It's locked, all right. Yeah, Birthday Massacre, not a revolutionary band, I don't think, but I appreciate the sort of fun, trippy sound that they go for. I'll say that the compositions are a bit juvenile, but goddamn if they're not fun. Where are you going? John, we have work to do. Wow. Woo! Hold on. I wanted to fucking... Oh, that killed him. Fuck. All right, I need to use my passive heal. I don't want to use my serums.
Over there!
Oh, there's a dog boy over there. Okay, okay. Okay, we're here to stick posters. 20 meters that way. 9 meters, 8 meters. Is it on the outside of this building? Is that what they're asking me to do? John's like, why the fuck am I doing this? Oh, just burn them. That's good too. That's a lot faster and easier.
Good evening, Mr.
Dr. Reed.
Your posters were destroyed.
I'm afraid your posters were destroyed.
It cost me good money to print those posters. Such a pity people don't take the vampire menace seriously.
Yeah, the designer on those was good.
Posters would be useful.
See the sad saint of the East End? How a single man can help so many people? I consider myself the discreet protector of these men and women.
I'm gonna kill him. Wow. He's on full hints? Oh, but he's a Mesmer 4. I can't get him yet.
Tell me, Ichabod, why do you consider yourself the protector of Sean Hampton's shelter?
He is a truly inspiring example.
Uh-huh.
Dedicated, pious. His shelter is open to all, whoever they are. Most admirable.
Goodbye.
That's not what I wanted. Alright. What's left? We gotta retrieve the stolen money. Dog. Very good. Never mind. You said never mind.
This one's mine. Turn around, sir.
Yeah, we're gone. We're gone. I don't want to interact with that skull.
Step away.
I'm stepping away. I'm stepping away. Don't fucking worry about it. I'm stepping away. Just give me a minute. Give me 30 seconds. I said give me 30 fucking seconds, asshole.
Bloody crime!
4, 3, 2, 1, die.
We have to stop it!
Ha-ha! Give me your fucking juices, dweeb. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Idiot. Come here. Come here. Moron. Come on. Come at me. Come at me. Come at me. Come at me. Loser. Said loser.
Giselle's stolen money. Priwen has some unethical ways of financing their war.
I'm absolutely gonna give Giselle her money back before I fucking kill her. Fucking, I'm not gonna get that song out of my head. Stupid.
You again? What do you want?
I've identified the men who stole from you. You were right. They were members of some self-proclaimed militia.
I knew it! Did you find the money too?
Yeah, it's yours.
Yes, here it is. They thought they could finance their activities with it.
I never thought a man like you would be kind enough to... I misjudged you. Badly. Well, thank you, sir.
That's
Will you
good.
Give the money back to your comrades, then.
Fuck those bastards who fired me. I'll give the money to Miss Gillingham. Her son Jack was a friend of mine. He was killed recently.
I know you were friends with Miss Gillingham's son, Jack. Tell me about his death.
Jack's murder has been a shock to the neighborhood.
Uh-huh.
A sign that the situation is now out of control.
Why is that?
There has always been tension between the Wet Boot Boys and members of the trade union.
Makes sense.
But a murder? That's a first.
Who killed him?
Who killed him?
No one will ever know. One thing is certain. While Jack was alive, I had one less reason to drink.
Oh, Giselle.
Why does that upset you so much?
I wish I had found the time and words to tell him how important he was to me before it was too late. Another failure for Giselle Paxton.
Okay, we're short one hint on you, but eventually we'll get your ass.
Well,
Glad to see.
Do we have anything on you now that we know more of Giselle? No?
goodbye, Miss.
Alright, quests. All clear on these quests. All clear on these. Find someone who can read the Braille alphabet, 1 of 4. That's such a weird requirement. Otherwise, we're all good there. I think... Yeah, I think it's time to continue MSQ.
It's locked.
It's locked. It's locked. Gang, it's locked. I don't know what to tell you. There's no way I could flit, is there? Like, that would be ideal. If I could just flit. Oh. We can do this. That's even better. Not going through here.
Best stay back. Take it.
Best stay back.
Steady, boys. We've got one of them here.
Idiot. Ooh, what an open door.
29 Pretty Orchard Street. This is it. What's in there for me?
Ooh.
There's been a fight here.
This is promising. This is, ooh, mystery and intrigue. Out the window, huh? Okay, that'll progress the situation, so let's not look at that yet. That's a combat arena. They're gonna make me fight a dude down there.
This window was shattered with violent force. Someone's been pulled through it and dragged through the street. Who could have done that?
Who could have done that? Yeah, this is a place where combat's gonna take place, gang. I don't know what to tell you.
Where does this blood trail lead?
No combat? But the space is so spacious. Huh, all right.
It's locked.
It's locked.
I cannot enter.
I cannot enter. Interesting.
Are you deaf? It ain't human.
That's a level 20 dude. He has no resistances, and my big fucking move doesn't even touch him. $21. Oh, ooh. This is not good. Not good, not good, not good. Woof. Chow. Now, this could be the game telling me that I am not strong enough for this, but what if I am? What if I just got better at the video game? What then? What would happen? Where'd it put me? Where'd it put me? Oh, just upon entry. Got it. Ad break is starting. I'll see you guys in a bit, okay? Uh-huh.
The way this is woven.
Hey, welcome back in, everyone. That dude did just say full brick in the box, which I think is a great fucking phrase to use. Like, I'm gonna start using that interchangeably with being so real with you, being so honest with you. Full brick in the box right now? I think that's good. I think that's good comedy. Now that guy's resistant to shadow damage, so it makes sense. I did a little cheating. I looked up where the recipe for the headache cure is because I kept on thinking I haven't found it yet. It must be accessible later. No, it's accessible now. I just missed it.
Sorry, sir. Look at it. Fist.
Ah, stupid. Stupid. Idiot. Okay, I need to handle this loser. I said I need to handle this loser. I said this loser. Stupid. Can I... John, use your fucking mobility. There we go. Okay, okay. We're over here. New dialogue available for Dr. Swansea and Lady Ashbury. Fun. Well, is that telling me anything about anyone else? No? Okay. This should be the fastest way to the hospital. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening, Doc.
I'd like to...
Little inventory check, see if we're up to anything cool. Nope.
It is good to see you again, Jonathan. How are you?
I'm better than one might expect, Lady Ashbury. Dr. Swansea has asked me to investigate the recent disturbances in the hospital caused by skulls.
Really? What do you mean?
I discovered the most intriguing skull.
Ooh.
An elderly woman answering to the name of Old Bridget, and a man who helps them remain hidden in London.
Old Bridget? Peculiar name, I've never heard of her.
According to Old Bridget, skulls can lead a peaceful existence like us. They are even able to nourish themselves by feeding on corpses and the flesh of the dead.
How vile. Please, change the subject.
She's like, that's icky. Don't tell me about that, that's icky.
Skulls of London have gone into hiding. Both mortals and immortals plot their extermination.
Yes. Skulls are the orphans of the Vampire Society. They are the shame of their genitors, a disgrace to the vampire that created them.
There is something ominous closing around me.
I love this track so much.
Something spies upon me from the shadows. Something cruel and wicked.
Whatever do you mean, Jonathan?
Do you suspect someone?
I don't know, Jonathan. I steer clear of vampire politics.
I'm sure.
Especially whilst hunters roam the city's streets.
I'm sure you can afford to ignore politics, lady.
If Sean Hampton and Harriet were not the guilty parties, then who? I saw the bodies and the blood.
Your rebirth has not gone unnoticed, Jonathan. Be extremely careful.
What?
If you get in the way of an immortal's plans.
Bit late for that, we killed a whole dude.
Goodbye for now.
Nice dialogue. Wonder if that'll lead to something fascinating. Dr. Swansea also has new dialogue.
Jonathan, at last. I've been worried sick. Have you solved the case of our poor Sean Hampton?
Don't worry, Edgar. The reputation of Pembroke Hospital is secure. Sean Hampton was not the guilty party.
Uh-huh.
Is that true? Oh, good news. Good news indeed.
What is this?
What do you know of the Ascalon Club?
Not as much as I would like. There have always been rumors about a secret society of vampires operating in the interests of the British Empire.
Oh.
Never met a member.
Do you think Lady Ashbury would know of them?
Jonathan, our beloved lady is not one for social dalliances, nor the assemblies of dark orders. She's a woman of superior taste and selective acquaintance.
She's like, they're nerds. She doesn't hang out with nerds.
I crossed paths with one. A terrifying creature going by the name of Fergal. He was sent by the Ascalon Club to exterminate the Skulls of the East End.
By the stole, Jonathan. If vampires are eliminating their own progeny, then dark times are upon us. Darker than I've ever witnessed.
This is so VTM, it's crazy.
Does the name Old Bridget ring any bells?
I'd never heard of her. Why? A patient of ours? I must confess, I don't know them all.
No, it's just someone I recently met. A fascinating woman. I had thought that perhaps...
By the stole, Jonathan, you've met another vampire. I would appreciate an introduction, if that's the case.
No, dude. No. She's not gonna like your ass.
I found Harriet Jones. She's much the same old, embittered woman she was, only she's been made a Skull. Her transformation did not go well.
Incredible. Why not bring her here? We could learn so much by studying her condition. It would be fascinating.
Dude, she can barely move.
I doubt that. She can barely move. Perhaps we could learn more about the degeneration of Skulls.
Perhaps.
Hmm.
But she could also belong to a new species. We know so little of the laws that dictate vampire reproduction.
Swansea's such a lovable dweeb. Yeah, this dope is not gonna last. He's not cut out for this.
Were there any studies made by your order on the subject?
Not that I'm aware of. I will transmit your discovery to the Brotherhood's primate. He will be delighted.
A pleasure.
Well, let's get the hell out of here. That didn't give me new hints on anybody, so while those dialogues were fun for like fleshing out some shit, they did not seem especially relevant. Currently, we're going to the cemetery. You may be wondering why. Apparently I can loot the recipe for a bunch of medicines I should have by now around there. Whoa, whoa. A little bit of a hard swing. Oh. Took a left too early. Hi. Yeah, okay, here we go. Always be looting. Ooh. Wow. Correct. All right, fine. I hate my bank's notifications. There's one that said Eve pay, and I thought it was a threat. pay. Okay. So I am told that there is a body I can loot near north entrance of the cemetery that will provide me the recipe I need. Ooh. That was a rat. Don't worry about the rats, John. Is this more rat situations that I'm seeing? You plague-ridden rat! Hey, when did this game come out again? Was this post-COVID? Was this game inspired by the events of COVID-19? There we go. A strange formula. Gotta love a strange formula. Oh, and there's a hideout right here. Always be crafting. Okay, I can make better serums now. That's cool. But this is what's important. I've got the rest of my cures. So let's do a little check. Migraine. Migraine. I've got 2 migraines. One headache. 2 headaches. 3 headaches. 3 headaches and 2 migraines. You got it. Excellent. And then 2 more of each. Neuralgia. Get me 2 of these. Oh, I don't have enough opium. 1 will have to do. Let me see if I can't, just real fast. Nope, not enough. 3 headaches and 2 migraines coming up, boy, boss. Get the hammers. Hell yeah. And then I want to have at least 2 of every cure that I don't immediately need. For convenience's sake. Cool. So the only thing I'm short of for my quota is having a little more stuff to make them neuralgia med. All right, let's go delivery boy style. Our 2 districts that we're concerned with are Whitechapel. Oh, 1, 2. Yeah, okay. Whitechapel, 1 person on the docks, and then 2. Okay, so all my districts basically. So we're already here. We should just run right back into Whitechapel. Right, we'll make a proper loop of it, huh? Hey, hey fellas. I want a rest to evolve, but I want to fix these diseases so they don't spread, is the idea. Yeah, just to cross through here.
It's an inch. Kill it.
So polite stopping while you're getting shot at, John. Okay. We're in Whitechapel. The 1 person we need to... That's not what we want. The 1 person we need to worry ourselves about... Okay, we got 2 people. Mason Swanborough. and Benjamin Palmer both have migraines.
Most of them don't speak English. How am I supposed to interview them?
I don't have your money. Come on, Barrett, you know the game. You pay for peace of mind. Can't you just look... Fancy buying something?
You never... Do you need...
I only need...
Goodbye for now.
It's not you. Was it this dude?
Cheap price, good quality.
No.
Can I offer...
The name is...
Goodbye.
Okay.
Cheap price, good quality. Come on, take a look. Don't be afraid.
It's not either of these dudes. Hold on, I'm trying to remember where exactly. Were they down the street? It's this asshole.
Mr.
Evening.
Have you heard anything?
Not really.
I'm sure you know more.
A man such as yourself, knee-deep in the muck of Whitechapel, must know more. Speak now.
Heard it closed after the owners died. Refugees don't want to come to Whitechapel no more. Scared, I hear.
You sound disappointed.
As long as she was there at the dispensary, it attracted more immigrants and kept my place full. Such a shame.
Why am I...
Maybe it's because you like...
So this dude... Oh, we're still one hint short of him being ripe and gettable. I really want to kill him. The game wants me to kill him, but like I need him ripe.
When science fails you, this elixir will give you faith again.
Where were those guys? Where were those fucking losers? Don't get stuck on the geometry, John. You're a doctor. Yeah, sure. I'll slurp a rat. I don't care.
Believe I'm doing this.
Is it you?
Good evening, Benjamin.
Yep.
I'm afraid not.
You don't seem...
Always.
Here you go.
I can try to help your body heal, sir.
They don't teach geometry navigation in med school. Damn it!
The war destroyed me, Doctor.
Have you any...
I visited her dispensary.
Let's check. So we're one hint short on you.
A gun?
I believe your boy was over here. Somewhere. Oh, there you are.
Stealing drugs from the sick and...
How are you, boy?
I'm not your boy, all right? Now piss off.
Do you need assistance?
I'm all right, but if you fancy giving me the medication, I can put it to good use.
Heh.
Have you heard anything about Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
Nurse Crane?
Nothing. Nothing. He's a black box. Oh, that was cute. It was a nice little moment. Okay, Mason Swanborough. Where the hell was he? Where the hell was this guy?
Sunday.
He was in that fucking zone. Right. Like around here?
You'll understand. You've wasted your life.
He's like, I'm not letting you in my house. He's one of those guys who won't let me in his house. This comes to, okay, this is Nurse Crane's little joint. Not where I'm trying to be right now.
It's locked, all right.
It's locked. Don't want to go that way. Don't make your skull noises at me, dude. Fine, die. That shadow resistance is no joke. So if this isn't it, where could it be? Is it here? Because that's the church, so there's... Yeah, so let's head hard south. Like it was a small and almost enclosed tenement.
This district seems to get uglier every year.
As long as you have the money.
This also could have been him. Hold on. No. No, that's not it. Oh, wait, no, so hold on. No, okay, that's the snake oiler. Where do I go? Where was this fucking guy? I feel like I'm going crazy. Where was the guy? This is not fun gameplay. I would like to know where the fucking guy is. Was he around here? Guess I'll have to check.
I'd step back, sir.
Yeah, don't fucking talk to me. Hmm. Because we got that loser behind the church that we don't care about. The poet. Yeah, so maybe further. Yeah, maybe he lives on Old Road.
There's safer places to be than here. It's a leech! Kill it!
Hydrate? Okay. Alright, fine. Pause on my map and take a little sip. Mwah. We've moved on from coffee. We actually have water right now. Isn't that great? Getting a little frustrated. I do think the labyrinthian streets of London are becoming more tedious than anything else. Here we go. Where the hell is this? Right here. This is where I was trying to find. Woo! Fuck. Give me that back. Give me that fucking back. There we go. Haha. Idiot. Now hold still and get clouded. Now, if he doesn't let me in, I'm gonna fucking beat him to death.
Good evening, sir. It's me again.
Leave me alone, I say, whoever you are.
Let me in.
It cannot be safe for a blind man to live here alone. Let me enter, sir. I swear I mean you no harm.
Well, a voice never lies, and yours clearly is the voice of a gentleman. All right, Doctor, come on in. Wandering in this part of town at night, you're either brave or a fool.
Why do you got all these candles if you're blind, dude? Well, okay, I shouldn't assume you're fully blind. I mean you no harm.
It's locked.
I will be stealing everything from you forever. Vampires drink our blood, but they feed on our soul. How could we believe that any man or woman killed by these foul creatures, bitten by their filthy mouths, could then be accepted in heaven? No, their bodies have been defiled, and their souls have been corrupted. Their place is now in hell, with the legions of blood-sucking demons. Vampires feed on our souls. Clarence Crossley. For more information, please contact me directly. That's just direct victim blaming. That's great.
Wandering in this part of... So what is the name of my nocturnal visitor?
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. As I already explained to you, I'm inquiring about the epidemic.
Dr. Reed? The eminent surgeon? My God. I'd never have expected a brilliant physician like you to knock on my door.
Flatter me, sir.
No, sir, I am flattered. I read all your work when I still had my sight. I loved it. I'm Mason Swanborough, by the way.
All right, fine, I'll hydrate. Do you know Braille?
Do you know Braille, Mr. Swanborough?
I'm no expert, but I learned it in my spare time, yes. Why?
I found a strange document entitled Cure for Blindness. It's written in Braille, so I thought perhaps it was yours.
Really? Is that some kind of sick joke? Let me see.
Here it is.
This letter seems authentic. And actually refers to an experimental cure for blindness. You have piqued my interest, Dr. Reed.
Could it be of any use to you?
No. This page is just a part of a larger diary. I'd be glad if you could find the other pages.
Cool. Well, here's another.
I found another page of the diary, Mr. Swanborough.
This diary is still not complete. The man who wrote it claims he is a member of some scholarly brotherhood called the St. Paul's Stole.
Really? I've heard of them. Very capable scientists. Perhaps the man who wrote this really found a cure.
I would need more pages to figure it out, but it's as promising as it is intriguing.
Cool. We need 2 more. Chat analyzing a man's ascot. Let him breathe, dude.
Take care of you in this isolated place.
My sister Loretta and I have our daily routine. Every morning and evening she comes by so we can talk and eat. Then she leaves and I stay.
Where's she go?
Where does your sister go?
Well, let's just say she earns enough money for us both.
So amusing about that.
I won't hide the truth from you. Loretta sells a fake elixir to the sick people of Whitechapel.
She yeah, snake oiler.
Do you not appreciate your sister's visits?
Loretta is the best and worst thing that happened to me, and I believe she could say the same thing about me.
You seem unwell, sir. Do you need my assistance?
Actually, I feel worse than usual. Can you give me something?
Forgot that we were here to give him medicine. Here you go.
Yes. I can give you a little something that has been proven effective.
Thank you, Doctor.
Bingo. We're mastering this game now, but it's an ad break. See you in a bit. Hi, welcome back in. Vampyr time. And welcome back, Kobold. Just in time for the lounge chair. That lounge chair, gorgeous. Did you guys see that? Like the cantilever design, that's so incredible. You could imagine how it would feel to settle your weight into that and have it sort of like bend just a little bit. Like, ooh, wow. That looks cozy and gorgeous.
Have you heard anything about Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
I think I've heard my sister talk about her. I wasn't paying much attention, though.
I should get some of those for the hospital, honestly.
And what else have you learned about me, Mr. Swanborough?
I know you assisted Professor Carell in France. That you invented a new blood transfusion method based on his work.
Yes. Those were frustrating but exciting days. I loved it.
Yes, the thrill of research and discovery. This is what drives people like us, Dr. Reed. Oh, how I envy you.
Okay, we got 2 more hints on him. And one of those at least is regarding his quest, but also we gotta go talk to Lottie now. Let's
Wandering in this part of town at night, you're either brave.
I'm wondering if they're gonna give me any hint as to where else. Okay. So they're not gonna let me know another place I could find the Braille notes. I'm just gonna have to keep an eye out for them, I guess. Maybe eventually maybe eventually look it up. Is there... Now, I think Widow in Distress is I'm waiting on a... I'm waiting on for when I sleep and then she's gonna go somewhere. I think that's the issue there. Yeah, let's do it like this. Yeah, okay, cool. These are my only outstanding quests. I'm still doing medicine runs. I need to hit the hospital next, but let's talk to Lottie.
Not a safe place right now, sir.
Oh, it's just one of those.
Come on, Barrett, you know the game. You pay for peace of mind.
Where is Gurley selling her drugs? Around here? There she is.
Swanborough cordial. Good evening, my dear colleague.
You're full of shit, girl.
Have you any news?
I can't believe that people and
Loretta, your miraculous formula wouldn't even cure a common cold, and you know it.
The Swanborough's cordial's secret ingredient is hope, Doctor. And it's something people around here really need.
A placebo effect is real and has benefit. But in your case, you could be murdering your customers who may die because they are not receiving the necessary medical attention.
Medical attention? In Whitechapel? Trust me, my cordial is the best option they have, since it is the only one.
Wow, bitch.
If your true purpose was to help, you wouldn't take money from the poor for your snake oil.
Oh, but to pay for it is part of the process, Doctor. If it were free, they wouldn't believe in it.
Wow. Fun lady. She'll be worth a lot when we get her juiced.
Goodbye.
Meantime, let's see. So our next stop should be the hospital, I think. Take a right, follow the road in its natural curvature.
It's all a bloody joke to you, isn't it?
Right down the road.
What the hell? How did he lead me on that? Okay, very good. Thinking about the pitter patter of Dove's toad claws hit the tile as he chases me through a dark warehouse really gets me going. My toad claws, huh? The clause in the contract regarding toads? That one? The pitter patter of the claws of the toads in the contract? I know what you meant, but that's not what you said. That's not what you said. Okay. So in here we need to find Strickland and Thatcher. Well, Strickland's in the building proper. We know that.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Do you need my medical attention, dear colleague? I would have been confused if anyone...
Yeah, get over it, dude.
There's no shame in helping any doctors I have... Goodbye.
Nope, nope. Yes. Oh. You know, it's just for that I'm gonna draw you with Toads' feats. No! Aaron, you as a fan artist, you are an accomplished shitposter, I'll say. You really got a good sense of comedy. I look at that shrimp one a lot. It brings me a lot of joy.
Good evening.
Evening, Dr. Reed.
Do you need... I'm certain you have your reasons.
All right. What's your deal again? We were down a hint and I have two more that I can't even talk to you about.
Why were you locked in that sewer? What happened?
I went by the canal after an argument with a friend. Got chased by these fucking wankers and had to barricade myself.
These fucking wankers.
Tell me about your claustrophobia. Has anyone given you an official diagnosis?
That's what the bloody doctor said. But I don't want to go to a hospital to get checked again. I'll deal with it my own way.
Why did you run? What was the reason for your argument?
Newton wanted me to go to a hospital, but I can't stand being closed in. Makes me feel like I'm suffocating.
Mm-hmm.
Oswald, why did you not go to the Pembroke Hospital to seek medical help?
I don't trust doctors. All they care about was their careers and processes. I won't be locked in any room again by anyone.
Your fear of being trapped is not going to go away by itself. You need professional help.
I've seen enough butchers in white coats to last a lifetime.
Yep.
Hospitals reek of chemicals and death. What I need is fresh air.
I think he's right.
Mr. Thatcher, do you have a job?
No.
Since I came back from the war, I spent most of my time and energy just trying to forget.
I understand what you mean. I was a soldier too.
No, nobody can truly understand what I've gone through.
He has that rat backstory. Okay, we're short only one hint on him. That's not so bad.
Goodbye.
It's locked.
It's locked. Who's that other loser who he hangs out with down here? It isn't Cox, right? Because we killed Cox. It's you.
Hello again, Mr. Blight.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. You doing your rounds as usual?
Okay, this is the rat guy. We're short 2 hints on him.
Do you need...
No thanks.
Alright, well, we're out of here. Okay. We have to hit the docks now. To give Miss Gillingham a headache cure. So we're going south. Like, it's interesting, getting around the city is just difficult enough that I feel like at times it is really wasting my time on purpose. But it's not so grating, you know? Like, it is arguably part of, like, the oppressive atmosphere of the game and a worthy addition. But I do feel like there should be unlockable fast travel just to cut down on running past a lot of these lower level encounters. Again, honestly, I would have liked to see this game draw a little more inspiration from Infamous. Because a lot of the fun of Infamous was unlocking fast travel with like really cool quests. Oh, took a right too early. Okay, well, I've been in here before, that's nothing. I really want to play Infamous because of that. You get to move around much more freely once you unlock more and more shit. Yeah, Infamous is... It feels really good to progress that game and become so mobile, and you can really like fluidly move around Infamous in ways that are so impressive. It really makes you feel like Batman. Right. I think the best Infamous game is Infamous Second Son, but Infamous 1 and 2 are also still pretty good. They still hold up.
It's Dr. Reed again. May I come in?
You best come back in the morning, Doctor.
Let me in.
The disease takes away the good people too, madam. Why not let me in?
It's Mrs. Fishburne. Stella Fishburne. And yes, indeed. Why not let a doctor in?
Was Infamous the game where you're like that guy that's wearing a hoodie that has like those special powers shit, and it was really dark, greedy game? So you might be thinking of Prototype, which is often compared to Infamous. Blood Orange just brought it up. They have a lot going on very similarly. I personally, when I played Prototype, I didn't like how it felt in my hands. I think Infamous is a lot more fluid and pleasant to play. And I didn't get too into Prototype because it just felt like I didn't like how the controls and animations felt. It was very heavy. Like it felt sticky to play, which might have been intentional, but I didn't get too far into it, so I couldn't tell you if that was like really good intentional ludonarrative harmony, or it's just not good game design. Didn't like the mouthfeel, bad texture. Exactly.
It's locked, all right.
So you have questions about the flu, then?
Yes, among other things.
Forgive my rudeness at the door. It's just my son doesn't like strangers coming in the house.
Well, first...
Mrs. Fishburne, are you in need of any medical assistance?
I am fine for now, least in body. Thank you for your concern, Dr. Reed.
Oh, you're not even the bitch I'm trying to find.
Stella, I know you are ashamed of your son's crimes. So why do you...
hydrate, okay.
More?
I can't report my son, can I? Not a burden I could bear.
Burden? How do you mean?
They'd hang him for sure. I won't send my only son to his death.
I'm convinced you raised Seymour the best you could. You're not responsible for what he became.
If someone ever found the courage to speak to the police, I will take my share.
Don't throw things at me.
Tell me about these demons Seymour needs your help to fight.
Seymour used to be such a happy child, and he is still a helping son most of the time. But when he gets angry, he can hardly contain his rage.
All men and women are born innocent, Mrs. Fishburne.
But non-binaries born evil.
There'll be a monster within any of us.
Do you think he can be cured, Doctor? Do you think something can extinguish this rage inside my Seymour?
Science has only just begun to investigate the mysteries of the human mind. Currently, we have more assumptions than fact.
There ain't no hope then.
Aw.
Somehow, somewhere, my son has turned into a monster, and nothing will bring him back.
You poor thing. He is a murderer.
Your son's gone way beyond simply bullying people. He has a taste for blood, and you know it, don't you, Stella?
One night, he told me straight up.
Straight up?
His own words. It was several days after one of his episodes.
Straight up, girl, tell me he's really gonna love me forever. Oh, oh, oh.
Why did he confess? Did you suspect something?
No. I guess he wanted his old mum to help him fight his demons.
So, minor sticking point. A lot of these conversations seem like they were built in a linear order and then broken up into chunks. A lot of these, like, a lot of the times it feels like I'm asking for dialogue off of a branch in the wrong order for, like, the natural flow. I asked about these demons your son is trying to fight before she said, my son's trying to fight demons. You know what I mean? Like this has been happening a few times in Vampyr. I think this was one of the more egregious examples. It's a bit of a ding. It's not like it is a real criticism, but it's not a strong one. It's not ruining my experience very much. But I feel that a more delicate hand on the writing could have avoided this. It could have taken something from an 8 to a 10. You know.
Did Seymour tell you everything that night?
More than I could stand. The words he used to describe his hate, his rage, how he feels when he's done it.
Excellent.
How is life around here?
Life has always been hard in the East End. But it's everywhere nowadays, isn't it?
Do you think the increase in violence has anything to do with the epidemic?
Don't know. But it's most likely linked to the gangs, if you ask me. Recently, it's like everyone has had to pick a side.
Violence has always fed on poverty, don't you think? It's a cruel law of the human condition.
And selfishness is their rotten fruit. These days, you can just die in the gutter and no one will bat an eye.
Yeah. Unfortunate reality. What do you do?
May I ask what you do for a living, Mrs. Fishburne?
Since my husband died, I worked at the Dawson Rope factory, but it closed before the war. I occasionally help at the night asylum, in exchange for food.
Did your husband die in the war?
Oh no, my Jack was a docker. He died when my Seymour was just a lad.
Oh no.
The poor boy saw his dad slip and fall from that scaffold.
Oh no. I love accidental deaths. They're hot.
My Seymour works at the docks, just like his dad. He's very attached to the house he grew up in. It's not always easy, but we get by all right.
Tell me about that orphan, babe.
The orphan that regards you as a mother. Please tell me about him, Stella.
You mean Rufus? I wish I could do even more for the poor boy. Most people are so selfish.
But you're not.
Years may have passed, but I haven't forgotten how it feels to go through days with nothing but an empty stomach.
Stella's a good fucking person. We're gonna murder her to death. I'm short one hint.
May I ask what you...
Since my...
May I ask...
Since my...
Get me back in here. No. Okay. Could be anything.
Goodbye.
But now that I've picked up on this, I'm gonna go back out there and start talking to people.
Good evening, Mr. Fishburne.
Yeah. Nothing new? I just learned about his dead dad and there's nothing new?
Goodbye.
How about little orphan boy Rufus? You're around here, right? You little freak. You little unlucky freak. Ah, there you are. There you are.
Evening, Rufus.
Evening, Mr. Reed.
Nothing. Nothing.
So long.
I was expecting a lot more when I popped this off. All right. So we need to... Who's sick? Enid Gillingham. Right, this is the sickly old lady, the one who's confused. She lives around the western docks, right? Yeah, she doesn't live in Southwark. Okay. Wolfman, Wolfman, Wolfman.
Over there! There's one of them vermin!
It's one of them vermin.
This one's mine!
Can you go that way? Alright, fuck. Idiot. I think this is where I'm trying to go. Well, this is taking me straight to West End. That's not where I'm trying to go. I'm not trying to toy with you. Asshole. This is not a combat I'm interested in having. I'm trying to run errands. Yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be going. Oh my god. Die. Oh my fucking Christ. That thing was way too high level for me. Okay, you can't do these gate transitions while in combat. That makes sense. So Enid lives around here. I don't remember exactly where. She was inside a location. She certainly was like indoors of something. Was this it? Just right here?
Good evening, Miss Gillingham. May I come?
Of course.
I keep forgetting they say Gillingham in this game.
Sir,
Do you require...
I'm glad.
Out.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Goodbye.
Well, now that I've delivered all of the medicine, I think I'm ready to... Well, let's just check. Let's just check. Booth Digby, we're ready to kill. Edwina Cox, we're ready to kill. I just don't have the mesmer levels for him. Seymour, I'm short a hint. Stella, I'm short a hint. Rufus, I'm short a few hints. Enid, I'm short a few hints. Martin, I'm short a few hints. Dyson, I'm ready to kill. Archer, I'm ready to kill. Sabrina, I'm short. Tom, I'm short. Ichabod, can't mesmer yet. Rodney, I'm short. Giselle, I'm short one. Okay. So let's kill Archer and Dyson. Yeah, let's do it. Your days are fucking numbered, idiots. No, there's no way I can cross over this way, huh? I'd like to be able to go right on over there. Oh, maybe I can. Yeah, okay, here we go. Woodbeach should be like right here.
Good evening, Mr. Wood.
Good evening.
Hey, I don't need you alive anymore. Come with me. We're going this way. Just going on a little walk, man. Just going on a little walk, that's all. Just going on a little walk. Yeah, a little walk, that's all. Just a lovely little stroll with my best friend Archer Woodbead to a dark secondary location. Vampyr, 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 Vampyr.
So my Andrew was right. Monsters exist. The guard will nail you down, vampire. My son will kill you.
Ooh, a hatchet. Archer's hatchet. Ooh, hello, baby. Well, actually, Clay's does more damage, but I've upgraded. They're both level 3. I think Clay's hatchet is better for me right now. Dunk on me. Okay, and then Dyson Delaney, who we can get to pretty soon, I think. Right, we go this way. Down here. Okay, I'm gonna go kill Dyson, but first we have an ad break starting in like 30 seconds, and I don't want to get our short walk interrupted. See you in a bit.
They're the whole.
Welcome back in. We're about to kill Dyson Delaney.
It was the soul one.
Poor Jack. He didn't deserve this.
He might be out front. There you are. You're not even worth that much, but I'm gonna get you.
Mr. Delaney.
What? Oh, you're that doctor.
Is it true Sean Hampton saved your life?
Yeah. The sad saint grabbed my soggy ass and brought me back to the pier after I fell into the canal. I was a wreck back then.
This is a sad story.
And yet you're still drowning in cheap liquor.
Sean Hampton really acted like a saint that day. But I suppose I'm just another lost soul who doesn't deserve to be saved.
Yeah, okay. I agree. Look. No relationships. Kills you, kills you, kills you, murders you, kills you. Come with me. This is how I grab your face when you disrespect me, chat. And I walk you into a corner, and by into a corner, I mean dead in the middle of the whole space for everyone to see, and everyone sees what I do to you. Joke's on you, I meant that. I will make it hurts. Is this right where I took out Archer? Is this the exact same spot I took out Archer? Grandma, Grandma.
No one will ever know what I did. I'm gonna die with blood on my hands.
Idiot.
No one will remember me.
Ooh, small key, small key, small key. Box or a trunk? Ooh. Dunk on me.
Without the wet boots keeping things straight, these parts would be running completely up.
Dunk on me.
I should just run as far away from this place as I can.
It doesn't hurt, I'm demanding a refund. A refund? For the disrespect?
It's locked, all right.
No, that's not it. Okay, all right. I'm just trying to find out. Like, I got a small key. Now I'm curious. I bet it'll turn up. I bet it'll turn up. Okay. Other districts. Beatrice, Goswick, no. First, I gotta check if someone's ripe, and then... So, Strickland is ripe, but I don't have enough Mesmer to get him yet. Elwood? He's as ripe as he's gonna get, actually. Elwood and Howcroft both. Oh, but we like Thelma. I like the het yaoi that's going on over here. I think I'm gonna let him hang. Dr. Shazana, we are short one hint on. Milton and Pippa we could take out. All right, yeah, Milton and Pippa seem like a good move. Lewis, I don't have enough Mesmer for. Mr. Petresk we could take out. Okay, Milton, Pippa, and Petresk.
I should just run as far away from this place. Been a while since we've seen any new faces round here.
Round here. Dunk on me.
Someone's playing a right strange game, and I'm gonna find out.
I'm gonna have to buy a shit ton of opium from Milton if he happens to have it, but I think he just sells like weapons and junk. Stuff that I'm not super intrigued by right now. Woof. Avoiding combat sure does make the game harder, especially when I try to lock on and kill someone. Stop. Map check. That's where I'm trying to go. Fuck. Fuck. The game's doing this stupid shit with the menu. Alright. We're back. Don't get stuck on the geometry, you stupid doctor. Okay. Cool. We did it. Okay, we're taking out Milton and Pippa. Imagine turning a brat into someone respectful out of disappointment. Yeah, sorry that didn't hurt enough. Cool if I address you with disrespect, with respect and all that. I will never be tamed. I am not a brat that you can tame, and I darest thee to try it. I durst thou.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
I'd like to...
Wise choice.
Okay, do you have any meds I can... Not really. Not really. So what is he actually doing when he heals himself? He is probably consuming some of his own blood and converting it into wounds healing.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening.
Anything new I can ask you about? No.
What's...
Well, let's go. Come with me. I'm not just trying to do this for my own like nerves sake. Oh, this is sexy, isn't it? Look at how we have to do this weird shuffle. I'm not trying to do this for cleanliness sake. The game incentivizes me to do as much as I can before arrest. And that includes all of this.
Time has lost its effect on me, but the suffering continues.
Remla, Remla, Blumbla.
Pippa, my princess, flee away while you can, for all is lost.
Sorry, I don't mean to tell you who my next target is, but don't worry about it. Man, this is interesting as someone who plays with both no kills and all kills. I'm not trying to like get ahead of the game. I do intend to just sort of. I want to plan ahead, but I don't want to like try to outsmart the game. If it has a point to make, I want to let it make that point.
The Pembroke is so lucky to have Dr. Reed, you know. I met him in New York once.
If only there were more of us, with less resignation and more determination.
I know I can count on you. I wish I could say the same for the others.
Dunk on me. Where are you, Pippa?
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Yeah, they were really singing praises. Come with me. We get to do this stupid little shimmy again. Yeah. This is the murder room in which killing occurs.
I knew I should have fled this rotten city with Milton since the first day of the contagion.
Yeah, I agree. I guess body disposal just don't worry about it. Yeah, I don't worry about it. I wonder if I can find the tiny box that I meant to unlock with this. Okay, the next person I meant to fuck with is Darius Petrescu. I believe there were a lot of locked containers up in the office. I think it's just worth checking. Do you also spawn a chorus when you use your vampire powers? Yeah, sometimes. I prefer things. Listen, I love a good Final Fantasy ass. The boss has changed forms and now here's a bunch of Latin chanting. But I feel that there are
it's locked.
I like to zag away from that.
Locked, all right. It's locked.
All locked?
It's locked, all right.
All right, damn. Wonder if the damage to the district will just stack on the next day. That'd be mean. I mean, I imagine it would. So far the game has not been too consequential with my violent actions. And I wonder if that's going to change now that I'm making bigger moves.
It's locked.
It's locked. Well, anyway, Darius Petrescu is our next person, so we got to go to Whitechapel. That's the last person we are perfectly poised to eat right now, and we've already took out Nurse Crane, so you know there's not a lot he's good for anymore. Right? Yeah, that's the bridge. That's the bridge we need. Stop, you freaks. I'm on my way to murder a specific guy. Stop getting in my way.
Steady, boys.
Yep.
We've got one of them here. Roll back to the hell that spawned you.
Oh, that was a good bark. Crawl back to the hell that spawned you. Okay, if I'm gonna survive this, I'm gonna need to be a little more. Okay, who's blowing at me? You? Okay. Stupid.
I order you.
Got him. Got him. They simply wouldn't understand that you're busy being the most erotic yet terrifying event in someone's life. Absolutely. This is the duty. I'm rubbing something out of my eye right now. This is a duty of a vampire. To be the sexiest way to go out. A person who knows what a vampire's job is understands that when in your final moments you gotta go, sucks that I'm dying, but at least this is hot as hell. Okay, we gotta find out where, that's still locked. Okay, yeah, so this is Petrescu's house.
Hello, Mr. Petrescu.
Hello, Dr. Reed. Come on in.
Well, no, you shouldn't invite Dr. Reed in right now. He is in full vampire mode. Hey, dude.
Yes?
Any final notes?
Tell me everything you know about Camellia, the mute florist.
Yeah.
I do not believe in the afterlife, Doctor, but I'm almost convinced Camellia is an angel. She volunteered to give out our medical leaflets.
Tell me.
I do.
Who is she? You say.
Well.
Are you not? Are you in?
Don't be.
Interesting. I can't get more info on Camellia.
How is Nurse Crane?
I don't know what you told her.
How?
I don't.
This.
No.
Don't.
All right, cool. I think this is all I can do with him. Let's go. This is bad for professing your disbelief, Mr. Petrescu. No, it's fine. He sticks with me. This game is so VTM, I'm not surprised at all if it's like their souls are just part of your body now.
Who will assist Dorothea helping our comrades now that I die?
She doesn't need it anymore, man. You're good. Thank you for your shillings and your lead plate, idiot. A poem? Camellia, in silence she walks like the early queens of forgotten countries where I sometimes travel. Through my long sleepless nights in silence she walks, and her smile speak for her. The ancient tongue of the Pythia, heard only by the fools searching for their fate, and I know her name is as fragile as the flower she gives, and I know her voice. I would nail my heart to the ground as she always passes by without answering me. Bro was down bad. Final check. No one is ripe. Ripe, not pluckable. Ripe, not pluckable. Not ripe, not ripe. I could handle Dorothy. I thought I already got her, actually. Let's fucking get Dorothy. Let's get her. I don't care. I don't care. Let's do it. I want to see what happens when I take out a community pillar. Going on a getting spree. That's right. Me when I fucking get you. Oh no, it's locked. I wonder if anyone has the key. Crane, where are you? Crane, where are you? Where is Dorothy Crane? Where has she gone? Can I have vaccine where to find her? Yeah, please, Caro. Is it somewhere stupid? And thank you for asking ahead of time before just doing it. You can't get her right now, it's tied to story progression. Got it. Well, we'll get her later then. Yeah, that would have wasted a lot of time, thank you. Alright, so checking gettability of people. Okay, cool. And then just a final pass before we rest. Do you have any? Certainly not. Certainly not. Nope. And those two were sparing because we like them. Okay. Then it's time to turn in all this lovely experience points and see the consequences of our actions. Will the game actually punish me?
The Swanborough cordial can be the answer to all your
I believe it's up here. This is this the hideout? This can't be the hideout. Come on. Where the hell am I? What is this place? This is a hideout, okay. I won't forge anything until I know what I need. Here we go. It's time to vamp out. Time for huge fucking payoffs. We're building hard into Shadow Mist, honestly, and I think let's just go baller. Your eyes are black. Yeah, doesn't that rule? Okay, need to be level 18 before I do that again. Let's see here. Let's strengthen our ults. Because I use those a lot. I want stronger autophagy. Stronger, slower, or more expensive? Or more expensive and stronger. Okay. Okay. Slower and really strong, or just kind of strong and... hold on. Okay, I think of these two... I think I prefer to have the quickness. I think that's good enough autophagy for me. I want more stamina. And then let's also just get more health. We're level 20 now, so I think we can Shadow Mist up to here. Beautiful. And how about blood capacity? Can I go further here? And beautiful. I'm liking my build thus far. I'm liking it. Can this get any better? Nope, not with what I currently have. Let's do it. Let's fucking do it. Time to witness the consequences of my actions. Christian faith or cult? What is immortality? Having your name inscribed in history, raising children who will honor your memory, earning your place among the saints of heaven. Sean Hampton, founder of the Hampton Asylum in East End, his opinion on the matter. Eternity comes from those who bear divine presence in themselves. Mr. Hampton, also known as the Sad Saint for his unequaled empathy towards others and his constant pity for their plight, has created with his asylum a haven for lost souls. He keeps the poor fed and gives them a roof to sleep under. Still, the asylum has now been closed for a few days, and his last successful orations took a turn towards cult-like worship. If heresy can be defined as faith gone adrift, Sean Hampton and his flock may have been turned into heretics. For the first time since I've known the Sad Saint, people speak ill of him, and the mysterious chants heard through the closed doors of the shelter worry more than they encourage. As a possible consequence of the suspicion, the sanitary situation of the docks has drastically decreased. Deprived of a place to rest, the poor get sick from sleeping rough, preferring to catch their death under the stars than join an unknown cult. That alone says enough of the tarnished reputation of the Sad Saint, a reputation that will be restored only when the doors of his asylum open once again. He's gone full cult here, that rules. Fatigue, cold, cold, cold. We can fix that up, no problem. Critical. We got to get a cold and headache for Thelma and Newton. No problem. Disappearances in Whitechapel. Oh no! They're not used to that at all. Wait, when was Jack the Ripper? Was it around now? Are they going to have a Jack the Ripper moment? That would be cool. Reports of mysterious disappearances have escalated in the past weeks. It has reached the point where witnesses have to queue before recounting their testimonies to an officer. Although this phenomenon appears to have a nationwide occurrence, the statements of the last 24 hours have converged around a single area in the country, Whitechapel, London. Yes, once more the despised and loathed East End is left to struggle on its own, continuously overlooked by the authorities, even while numerous families from this district report the unexplained disappearances of relatives and neighbors. What has happened to these missing individuals? Where are they? The only link between them seems to be their health and their need for urgent medical attention. Until recently, it was a local secret that the only place to get help was a discreet dispensary managed by unidentified Good Samaritans. The place now seems to be closed, and no one has any news from that facility. Did the missing persons go to a more secret place? Have they been discreetly moved to a more official service? One day soon, the London City Council Board of Health will have to answer for this new mystery. Jack was about 30 years prior. Got it. Well, in that case, they're just having bad flashbacks, aren't they? Sean Hampton is missing. Dorothy Crane is missing. Got it. District status serious, but I am level 22. Okay, so in terms of medicine, I need cold, fatigue, cold, cold. 3 colds and a fatigue. 2 colds and a fatigue. 2 colds, a fatigue, and a headache. Right? That looks good. Idiots. These loading screens a little long, but not enough to be annoying. So that's good. Nice optimization. Now we gotta go talk to Xiao Shun now that she's spawned back in. Xiao Shun.
God walks with me.
Idiots. Okay, so my heal is quite a bit more expensive now.
Crush the leech, boys.
That's gotta hurt. It sucks that I fell a little short. Just breaks tombstones. What an asshole, John. Here she is. Before we talk to her, we have an ad break in like 13 seconds. So we'll do it after that. See you in a bit.
This is
There we go. Welcome back into the final stretch of our stream before we call it a day. We're about to get this lady to go back to Whitechapel. A safe place. A safe place.
Are you all right, Miss Shun?
My name is Xiao Shun. This is the proper way to address someone in my country.
I do apologize, Xiao Shun. Are you all right?
Yes, I am. This is the only place where I can find some kind of serenity. Some way to remember my dear Matthew.
Free hint. Thanks.
How do you feel? Physically speaking, I mean.
I'm as well.
You realize you can't stay here forever, don't you? Eventually, you'll have to leave the cemetery.
Why? Why should I go? Since this is the only place I can find peace of mind.
To be honest, I don't know. Please forgive me if I've upset you. We must all honor our departed loved ones in our own way.
You sound like you're no stranger to the pain I feel.
Let's just say I too have a good reason to visit cemeteries at night.
Please accept my condolences for your loss then, Dr. Reed.
I'm liking this. This conversation has a tender tenseness to it.
Are you on your own? Do you have any friends or family who you could be with?
I have family and friends, but I need to be here alone.
Mm-hmm.
One day maybe I'll go back to them, but not now. I need silence, and I need sadness.
I've seen many deaths in my life, and we all grieve in our own way. Some stay silent, or need to shout. Others need company, and some just can't stand it.
Thank you for your sincere words, Dr. Reed. I sense you trying to help me, even if I don't quite understand why.
Want to spill your deep beans?
Tell me how your husband died, Xiaoshun.
Matthew died of the Spanish flu, like so many others. It's a mundane cause of death these days, but for me it meant the end of the world.
At this time, there is so little medical science can do to defeat this terrible epidemic. I'm truly sorry.
The worst thing is not his death, even if it tears me apart. The worst is not to have seen it coming. To have lost him so quickly, even before realizing it.
Did he hide his condition from you?
Matthew was a smiling type, a happy sort. Everything that I am not. Did he laugh at his death to come? Or did he not realize what was going to happen? I'll never know.
Wow.
The Spanish flu may be the worst disease mankind has ever faced. Why are you blaming yourself?
For now.
You don't understand. I didn't know he was so sick. I didn't realize the gravity of his situation until it was too late.
Ooh.
This sounds. We are all equally vulnerable to this awful disease. It can take the strongest man in just a couple of days.
I never said goodbye to Matthew. We never realized how bad it was. We laughed about it even. He always made me laugh.
Woof. This is rough.
Now I don't have enough tears to shed.
Judging by her hat, I think she's rich. I think she might be worth a lot of XP. I'm like, this is a horrible story. Can I end your misery in a sudden and sexy way?
Are you a doctor yourself? Is this why you feel so guilty for not saving your sick husband?
No, I am not. But I still need to blame someone for Matthew's death. And who else, if not his wife, who did not see it coming?
I'm a physician, one of the best in the country. But I was unable to save my own sister, Mary. She died in my arms.
Why tell me this? Is it supposed to make me feel better?
No. But I felt I should share it with you, since she is buried here too.
May I ask what caused the death of your sister?
You could say she was also killed by a terrible disease. A disease I have sworn to fight and cure, no matter how long it takes.
Thank you for sharing that with me, Dr. Reed. Maybe it's time we start to rebuild our lives, you and I.
Maybe. We're one hint short of her. This conversation was very fruitful.
Have you recent news of
I heard that she used to help the refugees, but unfortunately you don't see her around anymore.
Yeah, she's missing. Okay, all explored. Let's do this.
You should go home now.
I think you're right. Cemeteries are for the dead, for they need silence too. Thank you for your honesty and your wisdom, Dr. Reed.
Thank you for your company, Xiaoshun. Take care on the way home.
Maybe I'll see you again in Whitechapel. Goodbye for now.
Nothing new? Nothing new. Excellent.
Goodbye.
Well, that was a smashing success. And a lovely little conversation. Can't wait to kill her. For XP purposes, I do like that character a lot. Even simple characters can be wonderful. They can flesh out the world in such incredible ways. And the themes too. Okay. We have medicine deliveries to make in the docks and in the hospital. Whoop. Time for the old run past. Okay. Right in here should be fine. We need to give Thelma a little juice.
Good evening, Miss Howcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor.
Do you require my...
My condition cannot be understood by you.
Well, until the day science finally admits failure, please accept this little contribution.
Thank you, Doctor. Your efforts are admirable, though laughable.
What a queen. What an absolute queen who we love. That not the button I want. Who else is into Newton Blight, our claustrophobe, or our rat boy? I don't remember which is which. Then we'll get you some caps for your fangs.
Hello again, Mr. Blight.
Good evening, Doctor.
Do you need
Afraid so.
Here you go.
Throughout history, some diseases have done more damage.
You're working at the Pembroke Hospital, aren't you?
Goodbye. Good evening.
Evening.
Good.
All right, yeah, so that's my hospital deliveries. And then, again, not the button I wanted. Down by the docks, we got a lot of people. Booth and Edwina, Sabrina and Watts. Okay, so the bar and the mobsters. Ah! We can make this delivery before stream end. Easy, easy. Here we go. Stop with your guns. Heh, missed, idiot. Ooh, that was a headshot. Anyway. The dashing reminds me of origami. I don't know what that is. What is that? I don't know what that is.
Don't forget to keep an eye out for this garden.
You again.
Have you heard any...
Nothing? I remember you're ripe, I just don't have the mesmer level for it.
So you can... Goodbye.
It's been a while since we've seen any new faces round here.
It's like a decade-old stealth game.
Hello
Ooh.
again, Doc.
Can I offer you?
Giving out.
Perhaps I would. Can I see you?
As long as you have.
Does she have any of the meds I need? Not really. Okay.
I should just run as far away from this place as I can. You still working at this hour?
Have you heard any?
Some customers said the sun
Do you recall?
don't feel so good.
Here you go.
Take.
Anything new?
Goodbye, Miss Cap.
Here we go. Here we go.
You know, it would be nice to see.
Welcome back. Do you need... Indeed. Have you got an... I've not seen him.
Just want to check for any new deets. Nope. Okay.
Goodbye.
Haha. This is the game I really played the most. Could probably map it accurately. Haven't touched it in a year. Wow. Wow. That sounds good. I believe we have cured every disease on the map right now. Indeed. So when we next get back to Vampyr, we'll go straight into the main quest line and try to get a higher mesmer level to pluck some more of these ripe fruits. Haha. Thank you all so much for coming. This has been a lovely stream. Good morning. Let's see if we can't raid into someone. Let's see here. Ah, Parasitic Bun. I'm gonna send you to see some banger yaoi art. All right. Thank you all so much, and good morning.